Thank you, colleague. I'm Betty Nambooze, the Shadow Minister for Internal Affairs.
And a member.
And a member of this committee representing Mukono Municipality. Mr. Chairman, the information I want to give is that one of the videos in the social media shows an officer telling the suspect to lie down, and the suspect complying, calling out, "Look at me," and the suspect complying, and then firing at the suspect in a fatal way. I was on TV. I was one Romoshana on NBS, and he came out properly and said that him having been in the security organizations for some time, this was an execution, because we have always known that police at most will fire to disable a suspect, so that you can, if the suspect is running away, you fire at him or her to disable that person. But if you are killing a person who is lying down on your orders, Mr. Chairman, and the information I want to give, is that really sorting out suspects or execution of people?
Okay, procedure.
The Chairman, these were petty criminals. If there are those who snatch phones, who probably here and there were lay people, did they deserve that in a civilized country like Uganda, where we all stand to defend the people, the lives of those who can't speak for themselves, Mr. Chairman? We need this clarified. Lastly, okay. Mr. Chairman, lastly, I was feeling, okay, but I can proceed. Myself, Mr. Chairman, on the 23rd of December, myself, I was attacked in my own constituency by the anti-riot police from the headquarters here in Naguru, because, Mr. Chairman, they came in troop carriers, those long vehicles.
They attacked you
in my constituency, yes. And I was feeling sad because I'm not seeing the director of operations who ought to be here. But now that we have the minister and the IGP, probably they can clarify. I was in Remiaga County. There was a meeting where I went as an area member of parliament. But even without being an area member of parliament, by our setup under the local government, every Ugandan is a councillor, at least at the village. So what Remiaga LC1, where I'm born, where I reside, where I got registered. But then, unknown to me, the FFU, the Field Force Unit from Naguru, were transported overnight. And they laid in ambush. Mr. Chairman, I have photos here. I was assaulted. My vehicle, the windscreen were shattered. They shot bullets and tear gas. And I inquired why the DPC was doing that. And I inquired the officer who was on the ground. He said, no, he has been cleared by the RPC. The RPC, we tried to get in touch with him, and he said, no, he had instructions from Naguru, from the director operations, the number 3 police officer in seniority. Since then, Mr. Chairman, this is the matter that needed to be clarified as to why Mr. Frank Mwesigwa, the director of operations, could do this. We are going into an election period. What prompted him to deploy from Naguru, Masaka region, and the Sembabli to Remiaga playground? Mr. Chairman, it is unfortunate, but his young brother, Ezra Tugume, was the one conducting and carrying out the orders of his big brother, Frank Mwesigwa. And they were being put to the DPC, to Azaje. Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, you all come from the same place, from Nyabushozi. And I was reading the Constitution. The Constitution is clear. Article 211, the Uganda Police Force shall be nationalistic, patriotic, professional, disciplined, competent, and productive, and its members shall be citizens of Uganda of good character. Why did we arrive at that, Mr. Chairman? Frank Tugume, the Director of Operations, Mwesigwa, I beg your pardon, is a person who is known to me, together with his brother. Can't we as police have these, so that you are nationalistic in nature? I don't want to speak about people who are not here. I had a lot to speak about them if they were here. Ezra Tugume, the younger brother, biological younger brother. Is the police turning into a family affair such that we have nowhere we can complain? And this came to your attention and nobody raised a finger about it. And Mr. Chairman, lastly, the police must be national in character. You don't get people of the same constituency. Actually, they're your constituents, all of them, Mr. Chairman. You don't get them and you put them in Remiaga, in Zimbabwe, in Masaka region, and even at the top level here as the Director of Operations. I was hurt, Mr. Chairman, and now since that they're here, I want them to clarify.
Thank you.
What prompted the deployment and the attacking of the area MP? In fact, I asked them, has this meeting, which you say I can't go to, has it been cleared by police? The OC down said the RPC, that is Ezra Tugume, has cleared it. And when we asked the RPC, he said, no, the Director, Operations, and there was no evidence to that effect. Mr. Chairman, if we personalize the instruments of coercion, if we turn them into family issues, if we know the circumstances under which this very Ezra left Busia as the DPC.
No, I think now your point of procedure.
I want to go there, Mr.
Please,
Chairman.
please.
I'll raise it at another point in time. Incidentally, the Director of Operations, who usually accompanies the IGP, is not here. I'm saddened that he's not here. I wanted to look him in the eye. Together with his brother, he's also not here. Twazaji is not here.
Why don't
So
you
I'm
address
just
them
boxing
as
the,
RPC and Direct Operations? Because now, in my view, they are carrying out all that because they are responsible for what they are doing. So when you now personalize it to names and villages, you yourself, you actually dilute your point. The issue is that Honorable Sochikubo was attacked in his constituency, which is not good.
From the face
And
of it.
we want the IG, we want the minister to talk about it.
Mr. Chairman, from the face of it.
The IGP.
From
so
the
give
face
him a
of-
chance to respond.
Yes, but from the face of it, yes, you could be right. But I'm dissecting to you so that you see that the decisions taken could not have been supported by the police. And why are they doing that? Is the question. This is why I'm doing this. There is no professional police officer who could do that if they were not seated in their sitting room and discussing the affairs of Uganda.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Okay. Honorable Minister, before you have to respond to that, a matter raised, two matters raised by Honorable Sochikubo and augmented by the Shadow Minister, who this time around is seated on the right. Please, Honorable Minister. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I remember when I took over as steward of the Department of Internal Affairs, I called the IGP and I told him that under no circumstances, should a Ugandan be executed or killed when he's in handcuffs or unarmed. I regret what you said, that Ugandans were gunned down on mere suspicion. This is contrary to my policy directive, and I've called for a report of the incident. And those responsible will be held to account in accordance with the laws of Uganda. Secondly, it's unfortunate that the police should interfere with the activities of a member of parliament duly elected. That's not the job of the police. Stopping a member of parliament from addressing his or her constituents is the job of the constituents who elected him or her in the first place. A member of parliament does not have to ask for permission to carry out his or her activities in their jurisdiction. So, at a certain stage, I will ask the Inspector General of Police to explain what happened. This is contrary to our directives, both the President and myself. We don't condone this. We won't tolerate it. I thank you.
It is now more than the incidents happened. As Parliament and as we go out, we want to assure Ugandans that their lives are in good hands. We needed action now. We know you are waiting for the report, but it could be endless. Police reports sometimes get endless.
No, I have faith in my Inspector General of Police. I have faith in Mr. Byakagawa.
I think all people responsible are here.
I have faith in Mr. Byakagawa, not only to bring the report, but also to handle the police.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Minister, yes?
Mr. Chairman, I had thought that you had an opportunity, first of all, to raise some issues before the minister comes. Can I proceed?
Please.
Thank you.
Is it in line with what the minister was addressing?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, yes, one is in that line, but Mr. Chairman, you had promised in your ruling that you are going to give us an opportunity as members to raise some issues before the minister would come. But when I looked at him, it seemed that he was ready now to proceed on his main presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I start with the issue before us, and I want to commend the minister for coming out so clearly today and even before to condemn actions that are not proper within the police. You saw him strongly clarifying that no Ugandan should be executed. But when he resorted to the issue of the report, Mr. Chairman, I wasn't satisfied. Because if somebody commits an offense, you don't go to require for reports. You do arrests. And I don't think that policemen are above the law. If there was an execution of Ugandans, as we also, I think even before you inquire for a report administratively, there ought to be action through arrests. Who were the people responsible for this particular operation? That Ugandans were executed in summarily like we also. Who has been arrested so far? Should we really, Mr. Chairman, wait for a report administratively? And it seems that at times the requirement or the promise for reports is just for buying of time. I don't want to believe that my colleague, who substantially holds the ministry, is just playing with our emotions and talking tough, saying that I've required for a report. That's not enough. We want action in terms of arresting people who are suspected now to have killed Ugandans outside their mandate, beyond what the mandate they hold provides for. That is it, Mr. Chairman. And recalling that on the 23rd of December 2024, Wanusemwaka Julius was shot dead near Nakasero State Lodge. And we were told that the culprit, Bahati, this is somebody who is said to have failed to give way. They were in a traffic jam, and the police were escorting somebody, and they wanted these people to clear away, and in the process, Bahati was killed. The last I heard about it was that Bahati was on the run. But he wasn't alone. This was a group of people. We don't know who exactly shot Semwak. I want to know what is happening even with that particular matter. Mr. Chairman, I also want to talk about the issue of gangs that are building up in the country. I don't know if press has now decided that security should be privatized.
Honorable Betty Nambooze.
Yes.
That matter that you are going to raise comes substantively in the report, budget framework paper. It would be prudent that the minister presents. When we reach those matters, you come in for points of clarification. Otherwise, we are going to...
But Mr. Chairman, last night in my constituency, her Lordship, Tivulia Margaret, previously deployed a group of both private security guards and a gang of men. I understand that they came from Iganga to Mukono. As it is nowadays, that people who have land and they want to do evictions raise their own armies. They go down the villages, deploy, terrorize the people, but you see police giving them a cover. Police is in the background giving them a cover.
Giving who cover?
These goons, as they demolish and cut down plantations, demolish houses. It happened yesterday in a village called Ibudugala. I personally called the OC of Goma Division, and I gave him even the number of the people who are calling from the villages seeking for the intervention of police. Eventually, he called them back and said, and maybe it is true, that he did not have fuel to send the patrol van down the village. But eventually, when they went...
And that's exactly what the budget framework paper...
And Mr. Chairman, what I want to talk about is this issue of people raising up armies to guard the land, to guard and even do evictions. And they are watched by police. It has been 3 months now. I've been going to police talking about this issue, which is this particular thing that is being done by her Lordship. In fact, a whole judge terrorizing a village, taking over graveyards. I have pictures here. I will show them to the minister. So what should the people do? You all remember what happened with this Sobi. It is now common knowledge that if you are in Uganda and you have land, there is a group of people you can hire to come and protect your land. And police is aware, Mr. Chairman, about this. So I want to know exactly what are we supposed to do in such situations. What should my people, for example, in Mukono do, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
And I don't know what your guidance is, but I thought we had more issues to raise.
No, because Honorable Bachireke, you are a very senior legislator here. You know quite well, yes. Please take a seat. You know quite well that after the minister's presentation, I shall invite specific votes to make presentations. The matters you are raising could adequately be handled therein, or if you are seeking clarification, you come along. But addressing it before makes it difficult for the minister and all others to flow. So let's restrict ourselves to the minister's presentation and the budget framework paper. I can tell you, whatever you're raising comes in there. So please, let's give the minister.
Much obliged.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Bachireke, for giving way. Honorable Bachireke, I would like to assure you that all your concerns will be addressed. And like I said before, I have faith in the new Inspector General of Police. He is capable so far, in as much as he's handling an institution that has had a history of a bit of problems. As for the issue of this gentleman who was gunned down below State House, I have tasked them to find out what exactly
Below
happened.
State House or Kampala Club?
Kampala Club, yeah.
So where
Kampala
does...
Club. I have tasked them to find out what exactly happened and where the culprit is. Honorable Chereke, we have not carried out arrests because two mistakes don't make right. I don't want to rush into asking the police to arrest before they have investigated. Because it's me who said, don't arrest unless you are sure your case is going to stand the test of court.
While that is very
Don't
correct,
arrest
Honorable Minister.
until you are sure your case will stand the test of court.
Correct.
So that you don't have to put in prison, people in prison unnecessarily.
Her concern is how long would the investigations take?
Now, Mr. Chairman, how long is forever? I don't know. How long will the investigations take? It depends on the competence and the resources available to the police, and how soon they will have a satisfactory course of information that will stand the test of court. I don't want them to hold people in jail, because I have people in prison on remand who on conviction would have served 7 months. On conviction would have served 7 months, but they have been in remand for 3 years in prison. And when you ask them to say, okay, did you commit it? No, I don't want to convict myself because I'm innocent. They can't even take a plea bargain because they are innocent. Because if you take a plea bargain in order to get yourself out of jail, then you convict yourself. So it's a chicken and egg situation. So I agree with the police, especially the CID, that they should not arrest anybody until they are satisfied their case will stand. The probability for the case to stand the test of court is more than 50%. I thought that would help.
Thank you.
Both sides. So, Honorable Chereke, we are going to do justice because those people you are complaining about are already dead. Rushing to arrest will not bring them back to life. No, that's what I'm saying. Please,
Honorable Sechiko, you had a chance. Let the minister conclude.
Sechiko, when you were talking,
and you know our rules.
You are
Yes.
right.
I was listening.
But you see, there are those who are dead,
I have been with you.
and we speak for them. We speak for
But
them. fairly.
I'm minister for internal affairs for them also.
Then lead that point.
Yes. No, I'm saying what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is that me rushing to make mistakes may actually do them injustice. By arresting people, putting them in jail, helping the culprits to flee, may actually do the dead injustice. But by being patient, doing thorough, investigation, and being convinced that the people we are going to arrest are the real culprits who will be punished by court, is doing the dead justice. Yeah, I don't want to rush into, that's my style of work. Please, Margaret,
Honorable Minister, can you go on?
That's my style of work, and I'm not going.
Mr. Chairman,
Don't-
I beg, I don't want to make this a contest between me and the minister. Arresting is one thing, but opening up a case, a file against the people who are suspected to have executed Ugandans is another thing. Yes, you might not arrest, but has a case been opened up against these people and now they are suspects, and who are they?
But the Inspector General of Police is coming to talk about
Clarify
that.
on that. Yeah.
That's
thank
why
you.
I came with him.
Thank you. I think that's clearer.
Honorable Chereke, the Inspector General of Police
Is here.
He's going to talk about what has happened since then. I'm not the Inspector General of Police, I'm minister. I'm not an arresting officer. Give me my respect.
Honorable Sechiko, give him a chance. Then you have
Sechiko-
points for clarification.
Mr. Chairman, it's only to lay, because I indicated in my submission that there is evidence.
What are you laying?
I'm laying the evidence of the FFU
In your constituency?
In my constituency.
He's yet to address that,
Yes,
right?
but I'm laying since I made
Please
the
lay,
submission.
please lay.
I beg to lay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know when God created such kubu. When it was on
Such
Friday.
was created on Sunday.
On Sunday. Thank you. Thank you for your diligence and honesty. Honorable Chairperson and members of the committee, let me first take this opportunity to wish you a happy and prosperous new year and commiserate with the families of those who lost their dear ones and were not able to celebrate. I also take this opportunity to thank you for inviting us here amidst your tight schedule of programs to interface with us today. Honorable members, allow me to remind ourselves the three core functions of the Ministry of Internal Affairs through which it implements its mandate. These are preservation of internal security, keeping law and order, and citizenship identification, protection, and preservation. The ministry envisions a peaceful, secure, and stable Uganda with a mission to deliver internal security, law and order, peace, and stability in Uganda, where citizenship is protected and preserved. Comparative budget overview and proposals for year 25-26. Honorable Chair, the Ministry of Internal Affairs has been allocated 1.490.7 billion for 25-26, which is less when compared with 1.966.41 billion revised budget of this year, 2024-25. It's less by 475.712 billion. The summary of the budget analysis is shown in the table below. I'm not going to go through the table, you have it. From analysis, the shortfall of 475.712 billion in the overall ministry's budget for year 25-26 is going to affect a number of service delivery priorities. Further analysis also shows that apart from vote number 135 DGAR or other votes proposed budget, figures for the next year to 25-26 are lower than their overall budget outturns for the year 23-24. Supplementary budget requests. Honorable Chair and members, during the first half of 24-25, my ministry requested for a supplementary budget allocation to address security-related expenditure and other budget shortfalls for critical activities due to inadequate budget allocation to Ministry of Internal Affairs votes at corrigenda budgeting stage. For this year, 24-25, for example, the vote 009 Ministry headquarters at corrigenda level suffered an overall budget cut of 48%, shillings 31.301 billion, which reduced the budget from 65.323 billion at MPS level to 34 to 0.022 billion for 24-25, after corrigenda, which was made supplementary budget during for the financial year, inevitable. Therefore, the following votes made supplementary budget requests, which were granted. Vote 009, headquarter, 18.402 billion to be used to address budget shortfalls, National Security Coordination, JAT, JOC, GIC, and management of community service orders, a non-custodial sentence aimed at mitigating against the exacerbation of congestion in prisons, and C, operation of the NGO Adjudication Committee. NGO Adjudication Committee. Vote 144 Uganda Police Force, 190.969 to cater for shortfalls in operations, food, utilities, crime intelligence, investigations, classified assets, specialized machinery, equipment, land acquisition, domestic areas, among others. Vote 145 Uganda Prison Service, a total of 26.26 billion to cater for wage shortfalls, 22 billion, 26 billion, water 2 billion, areas 2 billion. Vote 120, national citizenship, immigration control, 28.49 billion to enhance enforcement, inspections, border patrol, surveillance, staff welfare, purchase of ICT equipment, and transport equipment to improve compliance. Honorable members, you need to note that the supplementary funding requests to address critical shortfalls of current or recurrent nature, such as utilities, feeding of prisoners, and police officers in operations uniforms, have not been incorporated in the medium-term expenditure framework, the MTF. My view is that the budget levels after supplementary funding or requests should be maintained to enable the ministry to address critical service delivery areas and prevent persistent requests for supplementary funding during budget implementation and avoid creating endemic areas. Security situation in the country. Honorable Chair and members, peace and security and stability are a sine qua non for socio-economic transformation. Prosperity of any country. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, through its agencies, has incrementally implemented numerous consolidative measures to enhance their capacity to detect, prevent, and effectively respond to crime in the country. Honorable Chair and members, I wish to note that the country has generally continued to enjoy peace and security from border to border. Police, with the support of sister security agencies, has been able to deal with the threat of terrorism and gun crime during a number of terror cells, which a number of terror cells have been dismantled and criminal guns busted. A number of suspects arrested and an assortment of guns and ammunition were recovered. The national security continues to improve, and the general crime rate is projected to continue reducing compared to previous years, save for isolated cases of criminality and theft in the villages and peri-urban areas. Honorable Chair members, statistics from Uganda Police indicate a continued reduction in the cases reported between January 2024 to September 2024, projecting a likely reduction in the crime rate in the year 2024. You will recall that by close of 2023, the country registered a reduction in the annual crime rate from 524 to 501 per 1,000 population. And from 2022, with a 1.5% reduction in the volume of reported crime from 231,653 cases in 2022 by 228,074 cases in 2023. From January to September 2024, a grand total of 167,630 cases were reported to the police, compared to 147 cases reported in the same period, January to September 2023, thus giving a reduction in the cases reported countrywide by 3,517, 2.1% cases. The ministry therefore projects a further reduction in the crime rate by the end of the year once the data analysis is finalized. This is shown in the graph below. The national CCTV project continues to play a vital role in curbing crime. The national CCTV project has facilitated the deterrence of crime and aided criminal and traffic offenses. Out of 700 cases handled by CCTV analysts, there have been convictions in 316, and 96 are undergoing trial with the aid of CCTV analysis report. However, there is a need for periodic maintenance to improve the quality of CCTV footage, longevity, reduce downtime from installed cameras. Need to implement phase 3 of the CCTV project to fill the existing gaps in Kampala, metropolitan areas, and other areas across the country. The establishment of a modern forensic laboratory. Honorable Chair and members, government has invested heavily to develop a forensic laboratory, including the establishment of a DNA laboratory, a toxicology laboratory, a digital forensic unit. The laboratories have enabled the country to conduct a wide range of forensic tests, including DNA analysis, toxicology testing, and digital forensics. Adoption of modern technologies and equipment in forensic science to improve the accuracy and efficiency of investigations. The government of Uganda, through the Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory, entered into a contract with SMS Construction to construct a national data bank building infrastructure, a multi-year activity that is phased over 5 years period of the NDP 4. This is intended to support intelligence and crime investigations and strengthen national security of persons and persons identification. This will not only solve the problem of criminal identification and security, but also will eliminate massive arrests of suspects before evidence is obtained, and this will reduce the cost of feeding the suspects in prison. Custodial services. On the side of prisons, the prison population is growing at an average rate of 8% per year. It has increased from an average of 67,289 in year 21-22 to 69,633, 30th January this year. 79,000. This is partly attributed to slow disposal of cases by courts, increased crime rate in some areas, among other factors. The increase in the person population has exacerbated the congestion in prison, which now stands at 374.6%. Space of one prisoner is occupied by more than 3 prisoners. This matter, therefore, requires urgent attention, and it seriously impacts on accommodation, health, feeding, clothing, utilities, staffing, with a huge financial implication. On a good note, reoffending among prisoners has gone down to 13.4% from 14.7% in financial year 2020-2021 due to enhanced offender rehabilitation programs, formal and vocational education, and implementation of community service programs. Mass registration of new national identity cards. Honorable Chair and members, I wish to report that a total of 27,420,757 citizens, 57% of the population, are registered in the National Register as at 30th September 2024. 17,897,296, 90% of the eligible population for 16 years have national IDs as at 30th September 2024. Honorable Chair and members, I wish to brief members about the progress made so far regarding the mass registration and renewal of the current national IDs that were issued in 2014, 2015, and are expiring. A validity extension of 1 year was granted, and the focus for 24-25 will be renewal of 15.8 million expiring cards and mass registration of all the projected and registered citizens of 17 million citizens. The immigration of data from the old national security information systems to the new enhanced NIS is ongoing. On automation of immigration and citizenship services, the Ministry fast-tracked the automation of citizenship and immigration services project, which has been approved by the Development Committee of the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. However, there are no resources allocated to kickstart the project, which was intended to start from 25/26. The automation of all services under this project will go a long way to positively contribute towards the national security resources permitting. The country to conduct a nationwide forensic tests, including DNA analysis, toxicology, testing, digital forensics, adoption of modern technologies and equipment in forensics will improve the accuracy and efficiency of investigations. Government of Uganda, through the Directorate of Government and Laboratory, entered into sorry, Mr. Chairman. Last but not least, the Ministry will focus on improving access to justice for all, improvement of staff welfare, and improvement of infrastructure, as will be reflected in the respective BFP presentations by the accounting officers. I thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And here we don't clap. We can take them through some induction. in case, but we stop them from developing ideas. Honorable Minister, this is, and honorable colleagues, this is an overview of the votes under Ministry of Internal Affairs. Just 3 points, and before we entertain specific votes, and we want you to also focus on BFP and the questions that we sent to you. But Honorable Minister, I have been following, of course. On page 7 of 9, you report about the growing average of prisoners population at an alarming average rate of 8%. And this is what overcrowds our prisons. Now, I want you to reconcile. How do you reconcile this with the decrease in crime rate? You reported a decrease in crime rate. I wanted to know what brings this. It's attributable to what? But having noted the decrease in crime rate nationwide, how do you then reconcile this with an increase in the prisoner population at an alarming rate of 8%? Secondly, about, I thought that's going to be, yes, you report about a shortfall. These honorable colleagues who are here know very well that in 6 months' time they will be going for elections. And of course, not only members of this committee, but all other. We want to know whether this shortfall does not affect, or because you acknowledge that some activities will be affected. May we know what activities will be affected and how else we can be of help, because this is your mother committee and we don't want you to run anywhere else. So please, in specific presentations of votes, highlight this. It's of great impact to us, but also to you. Otherwise, your presentation is good.
I'm glad you take note of the fact that we are going for elections and that we have budget cuts. I've already put in place measures to prevent this. I'm engaging the Minister of Finance and my colleagues in the cabinet to see how we shall address this imbalance in order to get a once-for-all support for conducting elections. As you know,
at least for preparedness.
Yes. As you know, Honorable Chairperson, elections is a sine qua non.
Correct.
For social and political cohesion. Whatever we are doing, if we don't conduct elections that are credible and can be understood by everybody and satisfied by majority of our population, we shall, even what we are doing here will not come to fruition. Whatever we are trying to save will be disturbed and destroyed by the very fact that we don't have a credible election. So we are doing measures to see how to mitigate the effect of this budget shortfall. I thank you.
Okay, Honorable Cooper from Bugondo in Kasiro County.
I know you love the name Bugondo. I thank you, Chair. Just starting from the budget aspect, I think this should not be the time finance should be thinking of cutting the budget of the Minister of Internal Affairs because of what we are going for. And I think we need to call upon the members and the Minister of Finance, not just to reinstate the budget, but to increase if we are to meet and achieve what the Honorable Minister is talking about. And I like the way General Otafire, he talks frankly. He's telling us that he's doing his part on the other side, but also us as members of Parliament, we should be doing our part to ensure that this is achieved, to enable us have not only to conduct credible elections, but to have people to live in peace in this country. Chair, my comment again is on the increase on the number of inmates in prisons, which has been a big problem. I wanted to hear a comment from the Honorable General Otafire. Now that the President has directed no bond, that means the number of people going to Luzera is going to increase. No bond and no bail. What's your comment on that? Yeah, vis-a-vis the increase which is already going on. We want to hear your comment. I'm saying the President, as they said, no bond, no bail. But we now limit it to the bond because the bond affects the police. Yeah, because we are going to have the number now increase beyond 8%. So I wanted to...
Certainly bail has nothing to do with police.
Yeah.
Bond.
Because if there is no bond, the police don't keep suspects. They have to say, they have to send to our brother here. I am saying it, Honorable Otafire. Just last week, I was informed one of my constituents was arrested and brought to Kampala, Chalwajala, police post, that one at the junction. I went there after 3 days. I found 7 suspects in a cage similar to what they keep chicken in the markets. 7, they were spending those nights standing. They cannot, in a small cage, they cannot sleep, they cannot squat. I raised the spokesperson of police. I said, I think this cannot be allowed. And it's a container, a small container. Yet we have Kira police station where this...
Honorable Cooper, which police station is that?
The police post.
Chalwajala. Police post?
Chalwajala.
Police post.
I have the photo of those people in the cage. So I was wondering why the officers in that police post would keep them in that cage, in that situation. Yet Kira police post is near. Maybe it reminded me of the directive, I think the IGP, which we want to thank you for, ordering that there are some officers who keep suspects expecting something. That's why they keep them longer. Maybe that could be the reason. Why would they even be kept in such a state? Even if, leave alone break the law of the 48 rule. But then, in such a state, I need you to pick interest in that station. So these are the things which end up with this problem. So the rest we shall ask
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Wakori, then Brandon, then we go to specific.
Yeah. I just want to also raise my issue akin to what Honorable Okupa has just mentioned. I think this also it will also be good information to IGP. Chair, you know I'm a border man. I have thrived through border business. We have a tendency which has actually cropped up and it is developing by officers of URA. They arrest the smugglers, put them in police cells for about even 2 weeks. Last time, some of my boys were arrested, brought from Manafa to Jinja police station, Jinja Road police station. They were kept there. They actually enjoyed their Christmas in police custody for about 2 good weeks. When I tried to interact with the DPC of Jinja police station, he actually told me, Honorable, if you do not stand up and help us, maybe you need to go and talk to the IGP because this has been the culture of URA, bring for us suspects here. They keep them for the mandatory 48 hours. And I think IGP, you need to interest yourself in this because it is happening. They arrest from the border posts, bring them to Kampala. They did not take any action, keep them inside, like you have said, maybe they expect something. So I think you really need to get to interest yourself in that. Chair, you asked the minister to reconcile police cases 80% vis-a-vis the number of prisoners increasing in the prisons on remand. But we are aware that our courts chair have a very big problem. The judges at times do not sit. So I think that could also be a reason why there are higher cases in prisons and then vis-a-vis crimes reducing. But I also want to ask the minister. We have a very, very important act that this parliament passed called the Community Service Act. Chair, when you go to many prisons across the country, you find offenders who have stolen chicken, some have stolen sugarcane, being on remand for many, many years. Yet we have Community Service Act. If we operationalize this Community Service Act, we would help the Commissioner General of Prisons to decongest the prison amidst the limited resources that we have. I beg to submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Brandon, then we go to specific votes.
Thank you,
Brandon?
Chair. Also, actually supplementing, I was looking at the video and we look at the aspect of human rights. We have issues of human rights complaints in this country, especially those that are enforcing the law. So I would interest the IGP and the Minister that as we go into this process, that most of us are critically ready because we need to be defended, the vote to be defended. And some of us who subscribe to the party, we need the NRM government, deliver to the best. So the issue of human rights, if these police officers were properly trained in the human rights, that even they surrendered, but they went ahead to shoot. So that aspect and that component should be really entrenched much, and we should put interest in it so that we can protect the rights because it's our duty and cardinal role. So as Parliament, and these good members of defense under the leadership of the chair, I'm sure we shall be able to stand to make sure that that area is facilitated for the credible process that we are soon approaching.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Brandon. Let me now have the pleasure of specific votes. Certainly, it cannot be falling outside that. Otherwise, we may put a cart before the horse. I'm now going to use my discretion and invite police, which is vote 134, to take us through and address specific requirements from Parliament, also address specific concerns that members of Parliament. Yes, yes, and IGP Byakagaba, I think this is your first time here. Since we approved you.
Chair.
Honorable Sechikubo, take
No,
just
but I take a procedure matter.
procedure. You make.
No, not
Okay, what's
that.
your procedure matter?
When I stand, don't get worried.
Okay.
I know where to proceed. By this time, I was raising a question of the committee being unprepared. We waited for your reports so that we could read them and we have a meaningful interaction. But they are just being distributed here while we are seated, Mr. Chairman.
They were submitted to us before.
This one.
Huh?
I'm talking of the police.
It was the soft copy was posted.
Soft copy.
Yes, on electronic. It was. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's on.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, honorable members of the committee. As it has been observed by the chair that this is my maiden appearance as Inspector General of Police, but not as a police officer. I have been around for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really privileged to be given this opportunity to represent my entity, to present the budget framework paper to you. But allow me to respond to the issues raised by the honorable members. And I think one of the areas mentioned is the most recent loss of lives of 6 people. And I'll begin by saying that loss of life of even a single individual is regrettable. And I would like it to be put on record that the police cannot be the entity to foster the loss of lives. We clearly know our duties and responsibilities, that we are there to protect life and property. And if any life is to be lost, it should happen also within the confines of the law, of the laws, and following standard operating procedures and regulations. So allow me, Honorable Chair and members, I know this is a very heavy issue, and I may not exactly give you all the details about this particular incident, but I want to assure you members through the chair that we take it seriously, and as my minister has said, let us follow procedures even as we fight for the rights of those who have died, but also including preserving the rights of those who have killed. And I think that's the bottom line. And what am I saying here? I'm saying that we are following processes and procedures, although the concern is how long is this going to take? It's going to take some bit of time, but action is going to be taken within the confines of the law, and that's what I want to promise. For the details, I have also seen the recordings and the people talking, but still, I think it even comes from here, that you just don't judge situations, you don't judge people until you have got the real gist of the circumstances. The media has brought out what was seen, what was purportedly seen, but the police must bring out what exactly happened. And I think I would like to request, Chair, through you, Chair, that I know what happened really raises a lot of concern. We are talking about loss of lives here. But allow me to repeat it again. We are taking it as seriously as it should be. And at an opportune time, we shall be able to account to this committee, to the people of Uganda, because we are tasked by the people of Uganda to carry out what we do carry out. With your permission, allow me to generally respond to that. And I think the reason is simple. Just out of what I've said, because even my colleagues who are here, none of them was directly there. It calls for serious investigation and assessment to arrive at a decision that must remain legal and defendable. The same applies to, first of all, my apologies to Honorable Sekikubo. I'm aware of what transpired in Remiyaga, and the same is being subjected to a neutral assessment so that we don't hurt any individual in the process. And at an opportune time, I should be able to give a response and act accordingly, also being guided by protocols and procedures. I may not be able to give exactly what is going to happen, but I can promise and confirm that action will be taken where it is required. There was also the other issue raised by Honorable Nambooze, I think, about police officers escorting goons. I think still our efforts are still work in progress. Now, at this juncture as Inspector General of Police, it's very difficult for me now to exactly give the pretty details of what happened around that incident, because even for me, I'm just getting that complaint, and I promise that we are going to follow it up thoroughly. But the issue you raise is, I think it's not only in your area, it could be countrywide, but at times, because the police moves with the force, most of these activities are carried out by court brokers, given permission by court. But when it is done without, then there is a problem which we must handle. And for me, that's the bottom line. And we are ready and prepared to correct where we get mistakes, but equally seriously ready to protect the people of Uganda. And we have that commitment. I can really confidently say this. Along the way, there will be mistakes. But what is important is how do you handle those mistakes? And that's why I want to assure you that the systems and procedures and processes of handling those issues are in place, and we shall continue to improve on even those systems. I beg that where we falter, we work around these things together, because the police is ours. The police is to help us, to help this country, to enable this country to move forward. As we realize it as an institution, that we have a very cardinal duty. And if we don't perform it, you cannot talk of development. Because if you lack peace and security, then the aspirations, all those visions, 2040, the PDM and all of that, we are alive to that fact, and we shall work towards that to ensure that this country continues to move forward.
I would like to welcome that undertaking by the IGP. It is his constitutional mandate and duty to do so. Out there, Ugandans expect much from you. Then you must rein in on those ones who may want to take you for granted, who may feel they are connected. You must rein in on them. And I think that's why the president appointed you, and we're all happy with your professionalism and your tested officer. Look, signs can show, Mr. Chairman, last time when we had the police, someone had put on the file from a police statement, the office of the deputy IGP. And we asked, is this your own personal report, or it is for the police? But you've escaped it. The file is reading Uganda Police. Unlike your predecessor who had assumed, not your predecessor exactly, but someone down there who had wanted to have a higher grasp of the force. So, Mr. Chairman, we entreat you, we shall be here to support you. I was actually very mad about the operations budget. But you must rein in on them. They will take you for granted if you give them way. You must stand, you must be the face of the Uganda Police, so that wherever we run, when things happen, we know there is somebody in charge who will address this crisis to the people of Uganda.
Thank you. Thank you, Sechko. IGP, please.
Around near Kampala Club. Again, the incident is regrettable. And again, the other regrettable circumstances, we have not yet got the culprit, but all efforts are in place to get the suspect. Even just yesterday, I was in a meeting to map out extra measures to see that we arrest this rogue policeman.
Okay.
But I also want to just present our little efforts.
The suspect is a policeman?
The suspect is a policeman from the VIPPU.
Oh, so that should be easy to track.
He's still at large.
Mm.
We have carried out to remedial actions in some of the instances. I hope they are being seen and registered, like the incident that took place in Imbarara. Actually, where police officers were dragging a lady. The police acted very fast to an extent that I started getting calls. That isn't that too fast? Because what I did was to quickly put them in the police court. They were charged, and fortunately the court recommended a dismissal for them from the police, and then they were taken to the criminal court. But what I wanted to share with you, Honorable Chair and members, I started getting reactions that I think you are getting too fast. Now, maybe I may have to be guided now. If it is indiscipline and criminality, I think if I'm being told that I'm getting too fast, I'll get faster.
IGP,
I promise to get faster.
Get assurances from us that when you are doing your job and doing it professionally, stick there.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me, I know we have the constraint of time.
Yes.
Detentions by URA.
Arrests by URA.
Arrests by URA and detentions by the police. Of course, that's not right. We know what the Constitution, the powers that it gives us. It's 48. And even that officer, I think I'll have to interact, someone will have to interact with him. URA is not in charge of the police cells. So that officer is in charge of the police cells. And therefore that excuse that helped me do ABCD, maybe that you will also assist me to keep retraining the police officers, because he must know that that is his responsibility. Whether the person has been brought by a sister agency, at the end of it, accountability is his, and by extension, accountability is by the Inspector General of Police. So if it is to say sorry, I must say sorry here, but we are going to rectify.
Thank you.
We will rectify.
Go on.
Chair, allow me to transit to the main area
Yes,
where you have
For the
asked me.
presentation, yes. Go on, please.
The main area of presentation this afternoon is the budget framework paper, and I've already said I'm really honored, but also I thank my minister for summarizing the key areas included in this paper. But allow me, Chair, just to point out a few areas before I call upon my accounting officer, Under Secretary of Police, to come and make this presentation. But I just
the issues, and it deals directly with my constituency. Mr. Chairman, there are guidelines for effecting court orders, especially to do with land evictions. One is that private security organs are not supposed to be part of the evictions. And two, that these evictions must be done within working hours during the day. But like I told you, what happened in Mkono night, it was at night, and for several months now, a village has been besieged by goons and private security people. I've personally been at police. I've visited the area. At one time, I met there even the OC. But the way he was behaving was like he was so incapacitated and unable to be dealing with these people, as if he feared them. So I want to know what I asked really, and the assurance Ugandans must get from you, Mr. IGP, is that one, people now, as a business, are raising up militias to guard the land. And they are out there for hire.
Honorable Nambooze, I think it has been noted. Honorable Nambooze, and you and me have been on this committee, and we know that...
The clarification I'm seeking is, when the IGP was giving us the answer, he did not come out specifically on that matter. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, is the issue of the time. He has said that they are going they need a lot of time. They need reasonable time to deal with the issue of the execution of Ugandans, the suspected execution of Ugandans. What I want to know is specifically what is so special? Wasn't police the one who were conducting this operation? Because this is something that was done on camera in broad daylight, and then you hear that we shall need the time. We shall need the reasonable time. And what is that reasonable time? Mr. Chairman, we are talking for the dead who are not here to talk for themselves. So if you say, and you leave it like, say, we shall do it, we shall need the time, I think that is not commitment enough.
I think let us agree. Let us agree. Partly, I think Honorable Minister responded, and then the IGP also
Provide what we are enjoined to provide by the Constitution and the people of Uganda. But I want to bring out to areas where I think we need very seriously to be considered without any hesitation, like the fight against terrorism. This is it's always work in progress, and we need a lot of support in that area. But we also, the chair has already talked about it, my minister has talked about it, the policing, the policing of elections, which are actually at our doorstep. We need to have very serious preparation. And one of the areas where we think we need to be quickly helped is in quick recruitment of police officers, constables especially. And the details will come out from the presentation. But we also would like to have serious support on the sub-county policing model. We think once we operationalize that model, we shall be able to cover the country effectively, and we shall be able to support the aspirations of this country in terms of the NDP4, in terms of PDM, and so on and so forth. We also would like to be supported in the acquisition of new equipment, also relevant to the prevailing circumstances in terms of threats. We need that support, more especially in terms of taking charge of our environments. I may not go into the details, but also maintenance and upgrade of some of our anti-crime infrastructure, like the CCTV, like the forensic lab, like canine, and so on and so forth. Those are very important aspects of our efforts. We also wish to have very, very strong support on our operational costs, because especially when you look at the period, as I've already intimated, the period we are in, almost in, we need that support. And then the other area is the welfare of the personnel. Very critical, because we depend on them. They are our heavy lifters, especially the lower cadres. We seriously need that support. And also maintenance of other critical infrastructure, but which take a lot of resources, like the air wing, like the marine police, the fire brigade. Those are really heavy consumers, and we really need support in that direction. And also the other one is the management of our indebtedness. Of course, this has kept on happening because of the meager resources. And as you realize, the police will not sit back and say, since we don't have this, we cannot respond to some of these situations. I think the minister has already mentioned it. I think from our own immediate assessment, the crime levels are going down, and I think it is raising a lot of questions. But equally, the resources are going down, because I think this coming budget, I think we have been cut by about 32 billion. Instead of moving up, we are going down, but the population is increasing, activities are increasing, the budget of the police is going down, but what is the good news is that crime is reducing, so we really need your support. That means the people I'm leading, together with other partners, are putting in extra efforts to ensure security. But we are not there. We are not yet there. It is still business, work in progress. At this juncture, Chair and members, I request that the Undersecretary comes and presents the budget framework paper on my behalf.
That's okay. You can come. You can use the other side. Is it not working? Okay. Did anybody enter with either walkie-talkie